Stefan Kaegi is een van de buitenbeentjes van het moderne theater. Samen met zijn vrienden van het Rimini Protocol maken zij wat zij zelf noemen documentair theater. En dat is niet het theater dat je gewend bent. Op het Holland Festival 2010 staan zij met de voorstelling Radio Muezzin. En ik ga vandaag helemaal niks vragen aan Stefan. Behalve dan of hij zelf zijn verhaal wil gaan doen.
I basically do organize meetings between people who stand on stage sometimes and talk about themselves. I don't like skills. I don't like people standing up there showing me how they have been training for 4 or 5 or 6 years, how to dance a certain move in a perfect way or how to pretend to be somebody else. I prefer to go to theater to see who somebody is instead of going there to see how good he is in doing something. An important part of my work is to find the right people, to choose somebody who you think, yes, an Indian call center operator who has worked selling credit cards to US customers without meeting them. That's an interesting story. But then that's not finished. Then you have to select the parts of their stories that might be interesting for an audience, and then it becomes a play. It's you set rules for a certain game, where you say you improvise here a bit, and here we exactly say these things in such a way as if you would be talking to your wife, for instance. Often people believe that when my protagonists are on stage are talking about their life, that's authenticity. I believe it's a very complicated word because of what we do is rehearsed through a long time procedure. It's months, sometimes a year of development, of research, of negotiation together with the people that are my performers. Reality is not something which comes to you via reality TV. Reality is something where you can interact with, and that's what makes it theater. The way that I get to my ideas is always different. It might be something that I read in the newspapers about, but the last play that I did actually came up when I was invited to Canada, Vancouver, where you have sort of the main big places of the computer game industry. And when I visited their working places, I felt that's somehow interesting. Can we not use this tool of people interacting live in massive multiplayer games in a more productive way? And so we developed a play which is called now Best Before, which consists in 200 people sitting in an audience room, and each one has a joystick in his hand and remote controls an avatar on the screen, which is in the theater.
Do you want to have sex at this age?
Sex, abstinence.
I can tell you it gets very loud because people start behaving as they do in front of their computers. They try to convince the others. They try to find out who is trying to marry me, and they don't know who the other one is. It's complicated enough to find out who of the 200 actors on the screen is you. You don't have a clue who your neighbor is. A few years back I was in Damascus and I heard a lot of different voices doing the azan, the call for prayer. It's a beautiful polyphony that you hear. Then I came to Amman in Jordania, and they had only one voice broadcasted via radio because the king of Jordania didn't want to get confused by so many different voices. And when I came back home, I heard that the same thing is going to happen in Egypt, and that's why I felt like, so the big call, Allah Akbar, in the future will not come from many voices, it will come just from one singular voice, which is broadcasted by radio through all the mosques, loudspeakers. It's only one voice, and the people that I have brought with me will lose their voice. And on stage they talk about what it means for them. Some people say that according to the Quran, the more people you reach with your voice, the more area you can cover you can have in paradise. So it is a big prestige, lack of prestige that they will suffer from. But they're also witnesses of Cairo, which is a crazy city with almost 20 million people living in chaotic traffic situation, pollution, and they sort of combine their religious lives with their everyday work.
أنا لما اتكسرت لا اتكسرت عمل لي شريحة و7 مسامير. طيب العظم اللي جوه ده لحم ازاي؟ بأمر الله. هنا فتحة عشان العملية، الجلد لحم بأمر مين؟ الله سبحانه وتعالى. هنا الإنسان فينا إحنا لما بيموت راح خلاص، ما يقدرش يستبدل، مش زي اللمبة، لا خلاص مات راح، محدش يقدر يصنع غيره غير الله سبحانه وتعالى. هنا عايزين يستبدلوا مؤذنين كتير بجهاز، وطبعا ده مش هو المطلوب، مش هو ده نفس الشيء.
Radio Muezzin is nog tot en met donderdag 17 juni te zien in Theater Bellevue. Maar er is natuurlijk nog veel meer theater te zien op het Holland Festival. Zoals bijvoorbeeld Stuk, zien, Stories en Giovanni. Voor meer informatie kijk op hollandfestival.nl.